What's up everybody, this is Tristan over at Element Wheels, and today we are going to be measuring wheel offset. Now before we get started, we're going to need a few items. We're going to need the wheel that you're measuring off of the vehicle. We're also going to need a flat edge of some sort, whether that be a yardstick, meter stick, even a piece of wood, as long as it has a flat level surface that we can put across the entire back of the wheel. We'll need a measuring device, whether that's a tape measure or a ruler, and then a calculator. In our sense, we have a phone. All right, so step number one in measuring wheel offset, we're gonna need our wheel, and we're actually gonna place this face down. So the face of the wheel needs to be on a flat level surface, and that's gonna be the front of the wheel, the side you would see on the car. So once we place this wheel on its face, we're gonna expose the back of the wheel. We're gonna need a couple of our tools. We're gonna need our flat edge, which we're gonna place across the entire back of the wheel. We're also going to need our tape measure. Now, in order to determine the overall width of the wheel, we need to measure from the floor up to the bottom of our flat edge. Now, when we measure from the floor to the bottom of our flat edge, we're going to get 12 inches. Now, 12 inches is the overall width of this wheel. Now, you may be a little confused, as you maybe know this wheel is 20 by 11. And that's because in this industry, when determining an overall width of a wheel, they measure from bead to bead, which would be the mounting position of the tire. Now, as you can see, there's a little bit of lip space left on both sides. That's gonna make up that inch of extra space to get that 12 inches. So even though this wheel's a 20 by 11, 12 inches is the overall width of the wheel, which is the number we are gonna be using. Now that we've determined our 12-inch overall width, we need to get to the center line of the wheel, which is gonna be kind of the first number that we're gonna need in our equation. Now, in order to determine the center line, or the dead center of the wheel, we're gonna take our overall width and we're gonna split it in half, or divide it by 2. So 12 inches divided by 2 is 6 inches. Now, once we've determined that center line, or the center of the wheel, we're gonna wanna automatically convert this into millimeters, as millimeters is what's offset is read in. So in order to get millimeters, we're gonna wanna multiply our inches number times 25.4. That's the equation. Now, when we multiply that, we get 152 and point some change. We're gonna just eliminate that change. We're gonna leave it 152. That's the number that we're gonna be working with. Try to make this as easy as possible on yourself. Now, once we have that 152 number, we've officially determined the center line, and that's a number that we're gonna keep in mind. All right, now we're gonna be moving on to step number 3. Now, step number 3 is measuring backspacing. Now, in order to determine backspacing, we're gonna need a couple of our tools again. We're gonna need our flat edge. We're gonna put that across the back of the wheel, just like before. We're gonna need our tape measure as well. Now, we're not gonna be measuring to the same point. We actually need to find a new point to measure to, and that point is gonna be the back pad, or contact patch of this wheel. And the back pad is actually where the wheel mounts to your vehicle. Now, you can see here on this wheel, there's kind of this machined surface. This is gonna be the back pad of the wheel. Once you've found the back pad, you're gonna wanna place your straight edge right above it. Once you have it placed right above it, we're gonna take our tape measure. We're actually gonna measure from that back pad to the flat edge. Now, we're gonna wanna press nice and firm on this, keep it as level as possible. We're gonna see this measures out to 7 1/16. Now, we're gonna multiply that times our 25.4, and that's gonna give us a number of 180 millimeters. Now, once we have that 180 millimeter number, we've now determined the center line and the back spacing. Those are the two numbers we need in order to complete our equation to find out the final number for offset. Now that we've determined back spacing and center line, we actually have everything we need to complete our offset equation. Now, I'm gonna show you how to set that equation up. So in this equation, every time, back spacing is always gonna go first, and then we're gonna subtract that by the center line. So in our case, we're gonna take our 180 and our 152, and that gives us 28 millimeters. So our final offset number is going to be 28 millimeters. This wheel also gives us a method of double checking our offset. Now, as you can see here, stamped into the back of the wheel is the number 28. It's accompanied by the letters ET, which is very common on most of these predetermined wheels. You may also find the ET or offset stamped into the rear of the spokes, as well as the outer lip, which this wheel has as well. Now, there are some circumstances where this may not be the case. A lot of wheels that are out there are semi-custom, meaning that the back pad may have a stamping on it that has an offset that is not the correct offset. These wheels are custom machined, and this is when measuring will come in handy to confirm whatever that offset may be. Next, we're gonna go over how to measure wheel offset if a tire is still mounted. Now, ideally, we do want the tire off of the wheel, but it's not always practical. So we're gonna show you how to measure with both. Now, if the tire's mounted, we're gonna wanna start with the same process. We're gonna put our flat edge across the back of the wheel, and we're gonna go ahead and measure for that overall width. Now, to get the overall width, we're gonna go from the floor to the bottom of our straight edge. The bottom of our straight edge is about 12 and 15/16, which is about 329 millimeters and some change. We're gonna round that up to 330. That's the number we're gonna use. Now, again, we need to split this in half to get our center line. Our center line is gonna be 165 millimeters, so that half point. Now, we're gonna take that center line number, we're gonna put it to the side, and we're gonna go ahead and measure backspacing again. Now, when we measure backspacing, we are gonna see that when we press down on our back pad, go to the bottom of the straight edge, it's about 5 and 13/16, or 148 millimeters. Now, we're gonna take our two numbers, we're gonna subtract that, and that's a negative 17 millimeter offset. Now, just like our other wheel, we do have the offset stamped in the back to confirm. As you can see, this is a negative 18. Now, with the tire, there's some things that are gonna kind of cause the 1 millimeter difference. As this isn't that important, we're gonna take that into consideration. When we go over it, we'll look at the options that are sold by the manufacturer, and we'll give you the best possible offset for your vehicle. All right, now we have officially measured for offset. Now that we've determined wheel offset, if you've gotten to this point in the video and you're still having a hard time understanding or getting a grip on what we've talked about, there's a few things that you can do. One, you can watch this video over and over again until it's absolutely burnt into your mind. Two, you can actually look in the description of this video. In the description, we've included a couple links and some charts that'll maybe help you with the finer things. And then third, of course, give us a call. You can hit us up in the comments, reach out to us via phone. Definitely try to help point you in the right direction if you are having some trouble determining your offset. Again, this is Tristan. We'll see you guys again next time.